19 February. We had seen a movie. I had gone out to lunch, came back home. I had a migraine headache. I was lying down. My daughter was watching television. Around 3 p.m., there came pounding at the door. When I say pounding, I mean this loud, and I'm not kidding you. My daughter went upstairs to answer the door. He wouldn't identify himself, and she got scared and came downstairs, and we told her never to open the door if they wouldn't identify themselves. I said he'll go away. He didn't. I didn't get a good look at him. I just stayed down here with my daughter. I said he'll go away, and he didn't. Eventually I went upstairs to my daughter's room, looked outside, and saw a car parked in my driveway, blocking our garage. I was very concerned about this, trying to figure out what to do. My phone rang. I didn't answer it, but somebody identifying himself as working for the Attorney General's office said he needed to talk to me immediately. I've had legal experience, and I was in the middle of a proceeding, and I knew if I talked to him, it couldn't be taken right out of court. It was illegal for him to talk to me without a judge, so that I just knew I could not talk to him. I called my lawyer. I told him there was someone here from the Attorney General's office, and he said you can't talk to him under no circumstances. Can you talk to him? I said okay. For the next 2 hours after that, he lay siege. He kept us hostage in the house. He wouldn't let us leave. Kept calling the phones, both lines in the house. I don't know how he got all the line numbers, but he kept calling them. He kept pounding on the door. He tried to break in the back. We have a broken doorknob now, door locked in the back. He wouldn't go away. I didn't know what to do. I mean, we were scared.
Right.
We called 911. The police arrived immediately. There were 2 squad cars parked out in the street, one facing either direction. Whoever this guy was in the garage. He had assaulted my daughter by the door back there. He came out of the garage. The officer met him about here, according to my wife. She was standing at that window. He had his hand on his gun, I guess from the 911 call. We said he had assaulted our daughter. He didn't draw his gun. The guy talked to him. They walked out in the street. They had a conference here. I was upstairs with my daughter trying to lock her in a bedroom, keep her safe. They went from here. They went from here. They surrounded, all 4 cops surrounded the guy, and they walked him up the front door. The 4 of them were on the stoop. My wife assumed the cops were there to get our side of the story. She went to open the door a crack. One of them kicked the door open. I don't know if it was the process server or the cops, but somebody kicked the door open, knocked her over. Somebody had the door open. They took the paperwork, hit her on top of the head with it. I saw that on the top of the stairs. They said, and I quote, "You're served, bitch." My wife said something to the effect of, "But I'm not Keith Myers. What are you doing?" And they said, "Shut up, bitch. You're served. That's it. Forget it." They turned around and they walked away. And the cops were laughing about my wife, saying very bad things, calling her fat and a couple other things.
Well, like why? Just say it.
One of them turned to the other and said, "Did you see how fat that bitch was?" I heard that. My wife was almost crying. My daughter was screaming and crying. I lost my temper. I'm sorry. I didn't know why they were walking away. I mean, he had assaulted my daughter, and they're just walking away, and they're laughing about it. These cops are laughing at me and my daughter and my wife, and they came down here to there, and they must have said something, because he went to his car, which was parked right over there, and I came running out the front door, came running down the steps. I ducked into the garage. I don't remember ducking into the garage. I came out with a broomstick handle, according to my wife, according to our neighbors. They all saw me with a blue broomstick handle. I ran across the front of the lawn. I couldn't go here because there was too much snow and I didn't even have my shoes on. I was in my underwear. I never even had a chance to get dressed. It just happened in a matter of seconds. I came running across here. There was one snowbank here. I tried to jump over it where his car was, and I missed. I hit the snowbank. There was snow all over the place. I came out into the street, and I think I don't remember exactly what happened, but according to my wife, I tried to hit his car. I might have made contact with it with the broomstick handle. I don't know. He peeled out and drove down to 59. I took a few steps after him. I didn't know I was going to catch him. And I'm standing here screaming at him. I'm furious, and that's the last thing. I mean, the whole world went white. I got shot in the back with a taser. I heard a loud. I don't even remember hearing the pop of the taser. Or him, the cop, saying anything. I don't think he even identified himself. I didn't even know he'd come this far. My wife said he must have been over by the stop sign. She couldn't see who it was that shot me, but I straightened up and I fell back. Like my daughter said, she saw me fall like a tree. She heard my head hit the pavement like a wet watermelon, she says. Blood splattered all over the place. My skull got whatever, and I was passed out here. 2 cops jumped on my back, I guess. I woke up. The one thing I remember is one of the cops took my hand behind my back, and they're supposed to use 2 handcuffs. I'm a big guy, and I was bigger back then. And he took my arm and behind my back, and the guy said, "Here, I'll give you my handcuffs." He said, "Don't bother, watch this." And he pulled my arm so far back, he broke ribs. I stopped breathing because they were on my back. I couldn't get any air, and I'm struggling for air. He took my other arm, broke these ribs. I felt something in my back give. I don't remember much after that. I passed out again from lack of oxygen. Next thing I know, they're walking me to the cars over here. My wife is screaming. She's somewhere over there. I didn't even see her. I didn't see anything. There was blood in my eyes. There was blood all over the place. They dragged me. They dragged me all the way to this car that was facing this way, and my wife, she was standing there, and she's begging them to get me help, medical help. She said, "Stop it! You see, he can't breathe. He can't do anything." The cop took out his gun, I think, and pointed at her. I heard him say, "If you don't get back in the house, I'm going to shoot you too." But with his real gun, not a taser gun. She grabbed Samantha, ran inside. I think my neighbor, I saw her run inside too with her daughter too. As soon as the gun came out, everyone ran inside. They tried to get me in the car. I couldn't fit. They used the new Chargers, and I'm a big guy. So he's using his foot trying to force me to get in the car, and my arms are cranked back. I've got broken ribs. There's no way I'm. So he started slamming the door on my leg. You can't see it now, but there was a big sort of bruise in the shape of the car door on that leg. We don't know how the skin got ripped completely off my knee. That's never going to heal. And they don't know. Same thing with that knee. They don't know how it happened, but when I was in the hospital, this is all ripped up and looked like hamburger meat. And finally got me in the car, and they drove off. They drove me to the police station, and I was fading in and out of consciousness. It took us, I don't know how long it took us to get there.
Okay. So let's talk about what happened in the jail.
When I got to the jail, don't remember much. I remember sitting in a chair. I had been propped up against the wall like this. I was leaning back, and I remember a black medic standing there looking at me. Can I say this? Can I use language?
You can say whatever you want.
He was looking at me like I was shit on his shoe. He had this look on his face. I don't remember him asking me any medically relevant questions. I used to be an EMT, studying to be a medic, and I don't even think he took vitals. I don't remember him taking vitals, but the funny part was I remember him talking with somebody else's voice, who turns out was there, a guy I knew. So I I remember this guy I knew. I remember his voice, and I remember him asking me what had happened, because last he knew I was free. I'd been released from my problems. I don't remember much. I remember I was crying. I'll freely admit I was crying. I said my daughter was assaulted and no one's doing anything about it. I don't understand. Next thing I remember, I was walking into a jail cell, and there was some garbage on the floor. It looked like they had a homeless guy in there. And they said, okay, clean it out. And I'm like, what? And they said, clean up that garbage. And I'm like, why? And they said, because I told you to. And he had his hand on his baton. Cleaned it up. He took the garbage, threw it back on the floor, said clean it up again. All right.
Was it even yours?
No. It was from this, like I said, looked like a homeless guy had been in there before me. I don't know if it was.
Let's go to the EMT report.
All right.
Show me the EMT report.
This is called a patient care report. It's taken whenever you have contact with a patient. The call came in as a tased inmate.
Okay.
And it says, the chief complaint, I was tased, which I don't even know if I told him I was tased. I don't remember. But I know I didn't say this down here. He says, the patient slipped and fell. Now, when I used to be a medic, I would say that's I would put that in there and as a joke. But really, I don't think he was taking this very seriously. Either that or he was told what to say by the cops. I don't even know if they told him that I fell and hit my head on the street. There's also a set of vitals in here. He never touched me, so I can get arrested by looking at somebody, but he never checked my pupils, and he says they were normal. And
show the picture of the injury.
this was taken in the ER.
How long later?
This was the next morning.
Okay.
As you can see, that's a bad contusion to the head. It hadn't stopped bleeding for several hours. Although in the PCR he says the bleeding had stopped, I bled all the way into the next morning. You can see they were actually taking pieces of road out of that hole there.
Okay.
Any paramedic, any EMT worth of salt sees a hole in somebody's skull like that, they're going to immediately transport. I should have been transported from the street outside. To take me to the jail like that and not provide proper, appropriate medical treatment is tantamount to manslaughter, I think.
Okay.